Genshin Impact exploded in popularity in late 2020 and has seen incredible levels of success. Live service gacha games only survive through the years if the players are willing to invest, whether it's the casual player that maybe throws a few bucks here and there, to the whales who go all in on their favorite characters. Genshin will be entering its 6th year soon this September, and we need to address the elephant in the room, that being why Genshin continues to remain greedy throughout all these years. I think it comes to no surprise to you that Genshin has always been stingy with their rewards. For the first ever anniversary, the entire community banded together using Chi-Chi Fallen emote as their way of protesting against the anniversary rewards that consisted 1/3 of a pull. No, I'm not kidding. There was this big misconception that players only received a 10 pull and some other random rewards like the musical note wings, but that only happened after the backlash. We originally were only set to get that 1/3 of a pull in Primogems from completing a web event showing players their stats. It was a cute event, sure, but when a live service game only survives because of a loyal fanbase, this felt like a slap in the face. We got 1/3 of a pull! Yay! Fast forward to year 3, and the Genshin developers tried to pull similar levels of greed by, again, giving players 3 whole wishes for 3 years of playing the game. Wow. When you run a business, it's expected that you need to make a profit. The developers wanting to make their characters as appealing as possible to entice you to open your wallet is no mystery. It's a disregard for the player base that has many players frustrated. Certain quality of life requests that fans have been asking for years have been completely ignored. Every patch, you'll hear a good chunk of players ask for a skip button or proper artifact loadouts only to still be ignored. I've been wanting the developers to update the treasure compass to be like Not Cries because of the huge quality in life, but I stopped filling out the end of patch surveys back in Inazuma because it was clear to me that no one was going through and reading them, so why waste my time on it? Which leads to another issue. The developers have set an expectation of low rewards to condition the player base to just accept whatever is thrown at them. This is why you'll find a bunch of players defending Hoyoverse whenever they do the bare minimum. Perhaps you've heard, "We should be grateful we're getting anything," or "If you don't like the game, just don't play it." My favorite argument. The reason players are using their voices is because they like this game and they want it to be the best version it can be. If we really hated the game, we would have dropped it ages ago, and I certainly wouldn't be here talking about it. Typically, conversation surrounding Genshin's greed stirs back up whenever we get close to the anniversary, but due to the state of version 6.6, we're actually already talking about it. We're getting 3 new characters, 2 of them being limited 5 stars with only 64 available pulls in the entire patch, and that's if you can even fully complete the endgame to get them all. But this isn't the first time Genshin has pushed the boundaries to see what their players will and won't tolerate. Let's go back to version 5 when the Pyro Archon was released. Both Maoika and Sitlali were released in the same patch for the first time in the exact same phase. This was brand new, and these were both highly sought after units. Not only did many players come to love these characters, but in terms of gameplay, they actually relied on each other. Maoika needs Natlan characters for her kit, and Sitlali just happened to be a Natlan character that can constantly apply cryo for Maoika, making Sitlali the new Pyro Archon's best support option. Having their debut banners together made it so that a lot of players had to pick and choose, or spend money to get them both. What made this banner so infamous is that it was during the anniversary, but players wouldn't be getting their anniversary rewards, which included more pulls, until after their banners had concluded. This was Genshin clearly testing the boundaries of their players. What happened? Well, this banner sold like crazy. I tried to search for the official revenue number, and if this number is accurate, it looks like the Maoika Sitlali banner made around 99 million. This is a clear indicator to Hoyoverse that they were able to push the boundaries and not only get away with it, but prove that they can still make a ton of money. So, going into version 6.6 with not even enough pulls to hit soft pity for 2 brand new units and a new 4-star doesn't shock me. This could very well be another case of Genshin trying to push players' boundaries to see what they can get away with. Again, yes, Lowen and Nicole aren't in the same phase, but we have an extra layer of Lowen being rumored to be a standard banner character. We haven't received a new standard banner edition since Mizuki in version 5, and many of the leakers were in agreement that Lowen was going to be a standard banner unit. Now, with rumors like this, you always have to take it with a grain of salt. Anything can change in the beta, and it's not a good idea to plan your pulls around a rumor. However, due to Lowen not being the strongest unit and not having the greatest constellations, there was some anecdotal evidence to support the standard banner rumors. In fact, that became part of his appeal, because while he wasn't the strongest, it would still be a healthy addition to the standard pool. Huge fans of Lowen could go for his weapon instead, and then snag him later in the anniversary selector. I have no way of knowing whether this rumor was true, but a big theory going around is that once Hoyoverse saw how many people loved Lowen, they changed him to be limited. I think there were even quite a few big buffs for him near the end of the beta cycle, which could be evidence for this theory. Regardless, I believe this is another instance of Hoyoverse pushing the player's boundaries. Will they get away with 3 brand new units with so little pulls? How much money can they squeeze from the player base who wants to get Nicole for their Varka teams but might be interested in Lowen as well? Before I go any deeper in this newest version, I actually want to take a step back and look at Genshin's entire history with free wishes. A few posts have been going around social media as players have taken the time to calculate how many limited wishes we've gotten per patch. Has it always been stingy, or is this a new pattern? The first post I found was this one on screen. This goes over how many pulls players get in a year compared to other titles. As expected, Genshin has the lowest number, but we do need to remember something important. In both Zenless Zone Zero and Honkai Star Rail, we have continuously gotten 2 new 5-star characters per patch. Genshin typically only gives us 1, with the occasional 2 new 5-stars like we're seeing now in version 6.6. But Wuthering Waves follows a similar pattern to Genshin, and yet their players get more wishes according to this graphic. Let's break it down further. At the absolute worst, you will get a 5-star every 90 wishes. It happens. Even then, you can still lose your 50/50 and not get the banner character. That means if you are super unlucky, you can only get 3 limited 5-stars you want in a year. Now, the chances of you getting that unlucky is very unlikely, so instead let's put the numbers at 75 pulls to hit Soft Pity. It's still unlucky, but not the worst it can be. So if you hit Soft Pity every time and lost your 50/50s, you'll get 4 limited 5-stars instead. That's not a whole lot better. So let's do one more scenario. Let's say you still hit Soft Pity, which kinda sucks, but you win your 50/50s. You are now looking at 8 new 5-star units per year, which is a far more favorable number. But realistically, you won't be winning all your 50/50s. I think a more realistic answer is going to fall between 4 to 8 new 5-stars every year. You might get lucky and get some 5-stars early, or you could get unlucky losing the 50/50 a bunch. Genshin released 8 new 5-stars in the Natlan era. In the current Nodcry area, 10 new 5-star characters have been released, and we still have 1 more around the corner. But while the annual breakdown is nice, I wanted to see if I can dig up how many limited wishes we got in all of the past patches. This would tell us if the low count of 60 wishes is new, or if it's something that's existed. This required some digging, and I got a varied amount of answers. So please treat these numbers as estimates and don't treat them as if they are set in stone. I found this graph from a Hoyo Lab post that showcases all of the pulls from version 1.0 to 4.5. It also talks about Honkai Star Rail 2, so if you want to read about it, I'll link it. It's expected that the first version is an outlier because they need to entice players, so they're gonna give you a lot of wishes. But take a look. There's a lot of wish counts in the 60s and some even in the 50s. This stands to tell me that the lack of limited wishes per patch is not a new thing, but rather a data point that more players are finally recognizing. In one of my previous videos, I even talked about the low amount of wishes when Mizuki was released. This isn't new. It actually looks like Natlan gave us more pulls in version 5, and I'm seeing around 720 pulls for the entire version. But Nodcry has taken a significant drop so far, and with more 5-star units to pull. Perhaps that's why players are feeling the lack of Primogems. I couldn't find an official chart for Natlan, so all I have is this stupid Google AI summary that suggests the best patch Natlan gave over 130 pulls, while the worst was just shy under 60. For Nodcry's numbers, I had to dig a bit deeper. From the account about Nodcry, I was able to put together this little chart. All these together is roughly 559 pulls with only 1 more patch to go, and I doubt we're going to get 160 pulls in the last Nodcry version to bring the total number close to what we got in Natlan. Actually, right as I finished writing this script, the estimated amount of wishes for 6.7 came out, and according to this graphic, we're looking at even less with 61 pulls. That puts the total for Nodcry at about 620 pulls, which is exactly 100 less than version 5 with Natlan. It's no wonder players are feeling this, considering what we got in, and this is with 10 new 5-star units compared to Natlan's 8. I also recognize that Natlan had an extra patch that Nodcry lacked, more 5-stars with less pulls and less time to get them. And of course, this is only focusing on the brand new units. Not the reruns, not the Chronicle Wish banners that many players are likely having to skip entirely or lose out on a brand unit for, and just forget about the weapon banner. Free-to-play players don't stand a chance. So this brings me to the thumbnail and title of this video. Why does Genshin remain greedy? Part of it is due to the developers wanting to squeeze out as much profit as possible, yes, but part of it is our fault as a community. I know that's not the answer you want to hear, but we've let these low amounts of rewards persist for numerous years, whether we were aware of it or not. This gave the developers data on what our expectations are as a fan base and what they can try to push and get away with in the future. Aside from the first anniversary reward fiasco and the Zhongli buff, we haven't gotten any corrections from Genshin Impact. These two instances were also the few times the majority of the community came together to ask for better treatment. I know many of you tried so hard for Dia to get fixed, but by that point in Genshin's third year, it was probably too late. The expectations had already been set, and the developers made it clear that without a large enough pushback, they won't do anything. And we do have to consider the element of the Chinese fanbase having a bigger sway in these things than we in the West do. Heck, many players in the West have given up because unless the Chinese player base speaks up, the chances for change are astronomically low. Remember the Chinese players were able to get everyone a free temple for Neuvillette when they nerfed his spin ability? They got that fixed and the free pulls pretty darn fast. While the state of Genshin Impact has definitely fluctuated over the years, and it has even lost some popularity, it still remains a giant in the gacha space. Even their lowest performing banners still bring in millions of revenue. This game isn't going anywhere, and the developers are aware that they have loyalty. They have players who don't want to quit because they've invested so much time or money in the game. They also have a good chunk of players that don't interact with the community, and they likely have no idea they're getting ripped off in terms of the free wishes per patch. The numbers in this video I presented to you are likely not perfect, but it should be enough to give you the general idea of what's going on. Genshin understands that it can still rake in so much money even when they don't treat their players right, because whether we intended to or not, the community has let the poor treatment continue. Even with genuine competitors in the gacha space now, Genshin can still get away with crappy treatment. And wanting more rewards in a gacha game isn't selfish or greedy, when this game would have reached its end of service if it weren't for player support. So if you love this game and you want to see it get better, don't be discouraged. Keep talking about it, and don't let greedy developers step all over you. Don't let players who defend their actions bring you down. We're playing this game because we love it, and there's nothing wrong with wanting it to do better. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. I talk about character designs in gacha games with occasional community topics like this one, so if that sounds fun to you, feel free to check out my other videos. And if you're still interested in joining my event to celebrate 10K subscribers by submitting your dream gacha character, it's open for a few more days. You can find the link in the description and pinned comment. I hope to see you in the next one.